What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is March 7th, 2024. It's 4:08 in the afternoon, and the market is closed. You may or may not have noticed the title of today's video being It's Getting Tough. And what I mean by that is it's getting tough for me in my trading style because we're just about out of targets to the upside, meaning once SPY gets near and above its all-time high, the only other targets that I have to aim for are going to be based on the Qs, which was the only thing that was allowing us to get into these trades knowing where we might struggle to move higher. I spent a whole lot of time today trying to convince people to not play puts, despite the fact that I didn't feel comfortable necessarily jumping into calls. Now, the reason for that is that the market was very, very strong today. Very strong. ADD opened up north of 1500. The top 10 was green. I mean, everything that you want to see for an uptrending market was there. My struggle is now coming to be the fact that I don't have targets, right? I don't like to start a race where I don't know where the finish line may be. I'm just being open with you guys. I'm letting you know that it's difficult for me, okay? Now, with that said, you will find very few trade opportunities that we talked about that I felt comfortable enough to share with our community simply because of that reason. So let's go ahead and launch charts, take a look at what we got going on, and I'm going to explain some things. Well, none of our lower targets even got hit today because we never really got back below our pre-market low line that I drew. Stayed north of that the entire time. In fact, we never made it back through yesterday's high of day at 512.07 once we got above it here in pre-market. Now, our call line was a breach of 512.92, looking for a move up to 513.53. Our put line was a breach of 511.90, looking for a move to the next support down. I take that back. It wasn't a breach. It was a candle close above this line because there was no price action to our left to make it worth being aggressive on the trade. Now, I will say this. We opened above that line. Okay. For me, that negated my ability to want to play that trade. However, we did have some folks play the call because we closed above that line and got paid on this move up. We had people interested in taking puts here. I was hesitant here because I didn't see things that I liked yet. I liked what the Qs were doing at the time. That's why I was talking about the idea of maybe taking puts here. But what I didn't like, if I'm not mistaken, was, no, NVIDIA was dropping. I think it was ADD was running up. Yeah, this right here kept me out of puts there. Okay. I see NVIDIA trying to go down, but it had a lot of wicks on the bottom of it. Okay. We see the Qs struggling to move higher. If ADD during that time was stagnant or moving down, I would have taken puts at that level. But it wasn't. ADD was moving up. Okay. SPY was moving up. However, when we get to this line here, we waited for a few minutes. And then all of the stars aligned. I'm telling everybody, guys, I'm interested in puts here. I'm just waiting for the right reason. We got the right reason. So I took that trade at 9:38. 9:38, Qs had just closed back below a support line. ADD just started to print red candles. And NVIDIA started to reject up there too. All the stars aligned. Everything that I want to see at the same time had happened at that moment. I took the trade. Now, what I wanted was the same target that we would have been aiming for had we took puts here, which was the blue line. The reason there's a circle here is because it is the first line of support on the way down. Why did I personally hold through that line of support, which I explained while I was in this trade, was because Qs had just blown through its daily support. At this time, I believe this candle right here coincides with this candle here. Yeah, right here. Qs had blown through its support at this point. I decided to hold on to the trade, waiting to see if Qs were going to do that. They were testing it on the candle that we reached support on SPY. Took the risk, and it continued to move down. I told everybody long before this trade was over that I'm going to get out of the blue line and I don't care what happens, although it would be awesome to see a gap close, which would be touching the pink line. I didn't roll the dice, and thankfully I didn't, because I only left a little bit of money on the table, but that ended up being a massive 70% win. For me, that is a home run. After we got through this line, I had my stop buried down here so that no matter what, I was going to be making money. No problem. Had a lot of people make a lot of money on that trade. Then we bounced off that pre-market high line and started to move up. This is where I start to struggle, because we're getting awfully close to all-time highs, which means I have no targets to the upside. Guys, everything that I trade, everything that I teach is based off of support and resistance. I had no pivot points to use, no Fibonacci retracement points to use, no futures points to use, because everything at this time is pushing near all-time highs. But what wasn't at all-time highs is Qs. Qs had all of these levels right here that we could use for our SPY trades. So once I realized that the Qs were breaking above and holding above their previous high of day, we started to look at reasons to take entry on SPY. Okay, so we had developed an uptrend on SPY, and at this time, I had told everybody I'd be interested in calls on Qs once we clear these lines, because it'll be the first place where we have enough room to move to justify the risk. That happened at 10:38 in the morning. That happened on SPY shortly thereafter. So if you wanted to wait for SPY to clear resistance, which was all-time highs at the time, and Qs clear resistance, Qs had room to go. Now, where you're going to see our exit on SPY has nothing to do with any line. It seems like Jimmy drew this circle after the fact. I did not draw that circle after the fact. Indeed, I drew it because Qs ran right into their next resistance. The exit and entry for that trade was based on the Qs, because I had no reasoning for it here other than it's trending up. Guys, I don't like to take a trade where the finish line is not defined. Now, if you wanted to take the trade because we were trend line trading, fine. That means that you have to get out of the trade when we break the trend line to the downside. That is giving up too much profit, in my opinion. So if I've got something that could tell me where that may begin to pull back, I'm going to use that 100% of the time. Not a trend line. I want to use what I know is moving SPY, which is Qs. And if you don't think Qs are moving SPY on a day like today, let me zoom out and show you what the Qs chart looks like. And I'll zoom out and show you what the SPY chart looks like. And they are very eerily similar. Okay? Very eerily similar. So don't discount the value that the Qs have to offer, because it's huge, especially when you're at all-time highs on SPY and you have no idea where it might stop moving up. Okay? Even through these pullbacks, guys, we were not talking about puts. The market was very, very strong today. Don't fight the market. Play with the market. Okay? The next trade that we talked about had nothing to do with anything in here. I had gone to lunch. I didn't get back until we were way up here. Okay? Now, at this time, I had come back from lunch. People are asking me, Jimmy, would you buy puts or calls here or puts here? Everybody who asked puts, I said no. Until there was a very specific reason to talk about puts, which we'll get into in just a second. However, where am I looking for calls? I said, guys, if anything, find a reason to be playing calls. Okay, up here, we've got no support resistance. Okay, we're not getting really any decent pullbacks. And if we did, you don't know what to trust on the SPY chart. However, right here on Qs at 151, we were breaking through another line of resistance, which was right here. So in the middle of the day, just coming back for lunch, I said, guys, if you want to buy calls, at least wait for close of price above 446.48 on the Qs. That should provide us the opportunity to maybe go up and touch Qs all-time high. So if you bought on SPY because Qs did this and you got out because we were 3 cents away from the all-time high, which I was begging people Please don't hold through all-time highs. I don't know how it's going to react. I know how it reacted the last time we touched that line, which is why it was all-time highs. And if we get close to it, move your stop up or get yourself out of the trade. So this reasoning here for entering had nothing to do with SPY other than it was still trending up. Qs broke resistance, and this is where Qs got close to that line. And guess what? That was the high of day for both Qs and SPY. We started to pull back, pull back, pull back. Now, we are not trading SPY levels at this point. Why is there an arrow here, seemingly out of the middle of nowhere? Now, admittedly, I forgot that we had a 3 o'clock report of consumer credit, which I guess people are still paying or spending a lot of money on credit cards because that's the only way people can afford to live now because it's ridiculously expensive to do so. But we had developed and understood how strong of a support we have made here on 446.10. So I told everybody, guys, I wouldn't even entertain the idea of puts unless we can get back below 446.10. That's it. Wait for it to happen. We get below 446.10. Not only that, but Qs have a decent amount of room to move to the downside if that happens. It moved a lot thanks to that report. And I think we had one of our guys tell me he made 120% on this trade. I don't know what it was. Doesn't matter. I didn't take the trade, but the reason for entry was the Qs. And if you wanted to use the Qs as a reason for exit, you could have used the fact that it blew through support lines. You know, you can't ignore where they exist. You got a strong support over here. That would be the next support down through that line. So right there. I mean, like I said, I'll leave my mouse there. We'll scrub to the right and you can see where Qs found support through the rest of the day. Okay. So there was nothing that I felt comfortable playing to the upside based on SPY. Anything that we took was based on the Qs. I'm actually glad that the Qs are selling off like crazy right now. Why? Because that's going to allow me to have targets high, both on SPY and the Qs. If we would have closed and opened tomorrow above all-time highs, I got nothing except pivot points to aim for, which is what I'll do. So we'll have to see what pre-market brings. We also have a bunch of reports coming out tomorrow regarding employment. I don't know what that's going to do. It's either going to excite the market or it's going to cause the market to sell off a little bit. There's no telling. I don't play for tomorrow. I play for the day. But that's pretty much it. So if you guys got any useful information in this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, we'd love to have you. There's a link down below. First week is completely free. If you like what you get for that free week, please consider becoming a paying member. Also, at the end of this month, if you're on the fence or interested in or currently a monthly member, we will be doing the annual quarterly discount on the annual sign up. Okay, that makes it cost you about $50 a month. You just have to pay for the year in advance. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you did well today. Till tomorrow, I love you guys. See ya.